Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who've kept us going for over 340 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames Dude of the week is Imperious Mex. Thank you, Imperious Mex.
He's like a day one dude, I believe.
He is, yeah. He's also been Dude of the week before, but I think it's been
it's I know he's an OG, so thank you to Imperious Mex.
He started the YoVideogames Discord, where you can also talk about the podcasts with regulars like Kyber is on the podcast Discord all the time. I'm on there occasionally. There's actually a lot of dudes that are in there pretty regularly, but Kyber's the person I interact with the most, so I remember him more often. But also, in addition to our dudes, we have a sponsor to thank. And it's sort of the perfect time to check them out. Summer is here, and
it's still hot.
Yeah, we're all sweating our balls off. Again, well, for Kyber, probably not. He's in Australia, but
he's freezing them.
Yeah, he's freezing his balls off. But still a good time to take care of your balls. And there's no better way to take care of your balls.
When is it a bad time to take it? It's never a bad time to take care of your nuts.
I don't know. If you're living in, like, Antarctica, that's probably not your first concern.
Look, if any alien, creatures that assimilate, into your body type, you want it to look good. You don't want it to look like the Thing, right? So to prevent your nutsack from looking like the Thing, you can head on over to the Manscaped. They got their premium package going right now. I have to bring the funny, Andrew, because I have seen ads with super beautiful people selling their stuff, and it made me feel insecure.
Yeah, you were thinking McCready really needed to just not have ball beard. We all know Keith David at the end.
I gotta bring something to this because I feel really like insecure now. But no, you will feel confident.
We know Niles at the end of the thing.
When you look down in the mirror and you've got a perfectly trimmed package, you're going to feel that confidence. It's going to well up within you, right? So there, I want to say premium package. Is it premium or platinum? Am I going to say this wrong, Andrew?
Well, now I'm confused, but I think it's premium package 4.0.
4.0. Because that is the golden loot box for your loot.
Yeah, it comes with everything from the lawnmower 4.0, the ball cream, which we love, the deodorant, the shampoo, conditioner, and the tool shed, their premium bag that they give to you as a special gift, but also, more importantly...
Nice bag, actually. I use it.
It is a nice bag. Their Boxers 2.0 is sort of...
ultra comfy Boxers.
Say you're not the person who wants to have an in-depth conversation about trimming your nuts. Well, even if you don't want to talk about that, the Boxers 2.0 is a good decision, and McCready and Niles both, even though they couldn't agree on who's human, could probably agree on their balls being comfortable if they were wearing these.
That's right.
I love how it became a thing.
No matter what part of the galaxy you're from, everyone appreciates a good, clean nutsack.
If you are interested in having good, clean nutsack and comfortable ball hammock for your balls year-round, please check out Manscaped.com. Use our code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off free shipping worldwide. That's code YoVG, all caps, at Manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. Your balls will thank you.
Yep.
I can't believe I remembered the main characters' names from The Thing.
I mean, it's like one of the best horror movies ever made, so
Niles and McCready.
I think that tracks. Keith David and the other guy.
It's totally off topic, but do you think which one of them do you think was human? Which one of them, or do you think they were both human? And it was a statement about human distrust.
I think it was. I think the whole movie's theme is wrapped up in the end there when they just wait and see what happens, right?
There's
because
a
the whole thing is about paranoia and distrust and yada yada, and they're just gonna sit out there and freeze to death. And to me, it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't matter, right? Like there's certain things in a lot of movies and games and fiction where like, oh, do you think this person? Do you think like? I mean, I'm just flashing back right now. I'm real hard into the Xeno lore right now, and like there's this scene where the main villain like he just to prefix, there's a whole argument about whether or not he kills this baby kind of thing. And I'm like, that's not the point. It's like, and with Niles and McCready, it's like it's not really the point. Like the point is not whether or not if one was or wasn't the alien. The point was they're gonna freeze to death, staring each other down from their distrust, right? Because like
right.
that is the point. It's wrapping it all up there.
I tend to subscribe to that as well. There is a very fun, I would say fan theory, because I don't think Carpenter's ever he's ever.
Is it the gasoline theory?
No, it's McCready's liquor bottle as Chekhov's gun. So throughout the movie, there's a point to be made where shots focus very heavily on the same liquor bottle that McCready's drinking of. But at one point, he offers a sip to a person who may be the thing already, which means he would have infected himself already because the guy drinks from the bottle directly. And you can get infected, like they say in the movie, you can get infected from anything. And so there's like this Chekhov's gun thing where they're talking about like at the end, both of them infect themselves with McCready's liquor bottle. I don't think that's what happened. I think that's, fun bullshit. But
I think it's more goes back to the beginning of the game where he's playing chess against the computer and he gets upset and he just pours the liquor inside like on the motherboard.
Yeah.
Right, because he's basically just like fuck it kind of thing.
Speaking of the chess game, that chess game happens to be free to play, and that's our
really.
And that's our top. Well, yeah, those chess games come free with every computer, or they did.
That's true. Well, they did.
That's my segue into our topic for the game.
Yeah, we're back on the free to play train. We've talked about this before, as you said, but it's kind of come up again. And
people
obviously
there are people that are legitimately mad that Multiverses is doing well.
Yeah, Multiverse kind of brought this back up into the conversation. So Multiverse is an open beta for everyone. You could just go get it on any platform except Switch. You can just go download it, right?
Except
It's not coming to Switch, so it's not. It's not released, but it's also like it's still, I think, still technically open beta, whatever. Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and crossplay, cross save.
Free to play games are never done.
Yeah,
Infinite beta.
Here's the crazy thing, because we can chart Steam numbers and whatever. It blew up. It blew up right on Steam, and it did super well, and it's done super well. And not only did it do well, it has continued to do well. It has continued, retention or continue high player counts every single day, and it's brought the argument back up because it is a free to play game. It is a free to play fighter. Granted, it's a Smash clone, so a lot of fighting game fans who are really against the idea of free to play stuff are kind of using other excuses, such as like, well, it's a Smash clone.
It's the IP, not the free to play model.
It's the IP. Well, here's the thing, though. There was a game that came out last October that was a Smash clone on everything, including Switch, and it featured all these classic and modern Nickelodeon characters. Now, it kind of got a little fucked because it had no voices, but that has voices now. They did patch that in. And it has no player base. It's, for all intents and purposes, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is dead. Now, people will argue, well, that's because the game launched right as Sora got announced as the last character for Smash Brothers. It didn't have the voices at first, and kind of like fumbled out the gate a little bit with its first impressions or whatever. And yes, and I think that's true, but here's the thing, like, the numbers don't lie, okay, as Scott Steiner would say. these numbers for multiverses are insane. You know, we're talking like
Right.
150,000 player base active right now, like on Steam, 150,000 people looking for matches right now.
Yeah, I mean that's excellent for a fighting game. What is it? It's not fair to compare it to COD, but COD has like a million or two at a time.
Well,
Right?
Warzone changed the game
Huh.
because Warzone's free to play.
Yeah, no, that's
But like
true.
COD was the, you know, COD is and was one of the big best selling games. Well, it is the best selling game franchise, right?
Right.
So that also a little unfair. And I think that also with COD is it brings up my point as well, though, is that fighting games have not escaped their niche. And the thing is, what it really is boiling down to, with I feel a lot of these people who are against this idea, is that you've basically like it's evolved the gatekeeper mentality hard. Where these people are like, I don't want it to be free to play. Well, do you not want the genre? Go, no, because fuck the rest of the world for abandoning us. You know, fuck the rest of the world for not getting good like us. Fuck the rest of the world for not taking the time to spend the $50 or the $60 and then learn the game and then play the game and study the game and learn. It's like, well, fuck them. They weren't. Why should I care if a bunch of new people? Blah 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 blah.
I'm sort of convinced that these are all bot accounts that DSP is running. A little bit, right?
So here's the thing, like.
Actually, he's
Even if
probably
you don't
pro.
like free to play, and I personally generally don't like free to play. I don't like free to play mechanics. I don't like the monetization systems behind them. I don't like them. But here's the thing.
Well,
How do you look at the success of League of Legends, a game I've never touched, or any MOBA that I've never touched, right? Any of these particular games and like Blizzard games and what have you, and Valorant, or whatever that was it I think it's Valorant. That's like the Valve created one or whatever. How do you look at the success? Look at the size of these tournaments. Look at the size of these prize pools. How do you look at that and not go like, doesn't that kind of suck to know that that fighting games, which really took off in '92. Granted, they existed before, but like Street Fighter 2 was the start of fighting games as we know them. Let's not even devolve into that fucking argument. But like as we know them, fighting games pretty much started in '92. How do you not? How is it not a little bit sort of like frustrating to see a MOBA which didn't exist until like 15, 20 years ago, maybe not even 20 years ago.
What does MOBA stand for, by the way?
Massive Online Battle Arena.
Massive Online Battle Arena. I
don't know if it's
massive.
That. No, multiplayer online. I'm sorry. I think it's just Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. I think I am probably completely wrong on that.
Anyway,
MOBAs come from a mod of Warcraft 3: Dawn of the Ancients, which then Valve just went and made Dota 2 to the ire of Blizzard, and then it blew up from there.
Which I knew that. For some reason, I can never remember what MOBA stands for. I don't know. Anyway, I think free-to-play, when done well, especially when it's a well-built game, it's going to attract a large audience. It's actually going to have an easier time retaining, in my opinion, because ease of access or ease of starting and difficulty of mastery, we talk about, easy to pick up, difficult to master. I think that is the most attractive type of game in general, whether it costs money or not. So free-to-play just makes that access even easier. But they have to execute. Not to throw shade, but like shooters, especially since, I play more shooters than anything. Do you remember PlanetSide?
Yeah.
People still play that. Like, there's still people playing
it. No,
they
don't. No
do.
way.
Yeah, PlanetSide still gets played.
What do you know?
And it was free to play, but like, it just always felt, I don't know, empty when I played it. And I played it at its height. Like, there were people playing it, but like, when like it just doesn't feel punchy, like a shooter just doesn't feel like there's it just felt like that all the time, where it just felt, I mean, not to be a dick, but sort of cheap. And it's not. PlanetSide wasn't. It was a huge game. But like, that is my worry about free to play, where like they don't put a ton of effort. They don't put a ton of effort to continue to grow it, But then
Right.
you have Warzone, which continues to put loads of effort towards it. Continues to
No.
They do, they
Uh,
totally do.
They do. The game's a mess.
Oh, I mean that's a different argument. I stopped playing it like months ago now, but
Well, I think your argument is like, are they supporting the game? Are they adding stuff to it? Yes,
yes, and
absolutely.
they're sort of changing it
Yeah.
continuously.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
have Apex Legends, which continues to add people and levels
Yes.
and changes dynamics. Every new weapon changes dynamics, and
Yeah.
you
Well,
can
they have three maps now
right,
in Warzone. Which,
yeah,
when you think about it, that didn't used to be. And then there's a fourth map that's gone and both, and it had two completely like separate iterations, like an 80s iteration and a
right,
modern
yeah.
iteration. That's gone. I mean, good, anyways. Fernandez could eat my ass. But like, they have a new map in the Adriatic Sea, and I actually love half the map.
You love
I love
half the map.
I love the way it looks. I think it's designed very cool, but like half the map is because half the map is a town and a big giant castle, like keep, and it's just a Swiss cheese block of doors and hallways and windows,
Ugh.
which is awful. And then the other half of the map is just this cove, so the Smuggler's Cove, and this big giant winery and a little like pop up camp of tents, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's cute. That's a little boutique murder hole. I
Right.
like that.
So I like
Mooder hole.
Fortune's Keep half of the time. It's a 60-person map, right? It's halfway between Rebirth, the Alcatraz map, and like one of the 100-player maps, right? It's halfway in between the size. Yeah, that's
I can
what you're
dig that.
missing out on, I guess.
You know what? I've been living fine without it. Actually, I haven't had a lot of time to play anything in general. I've been playing a bunch of backlog games. Like I finally started playing Sable.
Oh, Sable's cool. Very
Sable
chill.
Sable's
Very.
super cool. Super chill. So it's like it's sort of like Zelda without any combat.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Uh,
I love
I
the art
like.
style
Yes.
and music. I
But
just
you
sort
know
of
what?
generally love.
Did you do that through Game Pass?
Yeah, I'm playing through it through Game Pass.
Which is exactly kind of like the point of this episode. We're not getting off track here because the thing is like, why did you play this? Why did you even take the time out of your day to look at this? Because I didn't have to do anything.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, well, that's why Game Pass is as attractive as it is,
Yeah,
right?
I played Sniper Elite, 5.
Yes.
And I was reminded why I hate stealth games.
Yeah, but you don't have to play it stealth.
You don't.
You could totally play it
It's
balls to the wall.
it works sometimes, and then sometimes it really doesn't.
No, third level, I don't play stealth at all. I do
Oh,
nothing but
really?
long shots.
Maps are fucking enormous. People were like
They are.
blown away that like wait, you're still. I'm like, it really is Hitman.
It is.
It
It's
really
great.
is just World War II Hitman.
Yeah, with funny little boots and you just shoot them in the face. It's amazing.
Yep, and you get the nut shot and the lung shot and the
Yeah,
eye shot.
the liver shot. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, back to that is a topic that we did on a side quest on Patreon. I convinced Matt he needed to try.
Right, but you know what I
Sniper
did?
Elite
It was nice because I didn't have to buy in. I just went to Xbox, and at first I was downloading it, and then I was like, I got frustrated because I'm like, it's 80 gigs. So you know what I did?
Fucking big.
So I canceled that and I just streamed it.
Oh shit! How did it stream?
Fine. Like there's like every so often you'd maybe like a little bit of a sync issue with like lips and mouth movement, but
fair.
Fine.
It
was fine.
But
I'm playing against computers, so it's different.
Yeah, well, if you were trying to play multiplayer, that would be fucking awful.
Would have loved to have done that co-op though. Holy shit, that game would be amazing co-op.
That game is amazing co-op. Yeah,
it is co-op. So
yeah, I would do that with you co-op. I still have it installed. They also have a DLC where you get to sneak into Berchtesgaden to kill Hitler.
Really?
Yeah.
They have a bunker mission.
Yeah, and you can like
wait, is it a bunker or is it the Valkyrie mission?
It's Berchtesgaden. So it's a hypothetical where you go to his mountain retreat.
The Eagle's Nest?
Yep. That's if I remember. Yeah, and you go in there, and I think you get bonus points for suiciding him.
Like with yourself?
Yeah, like where you shoot him, make it look like it's a suicide, or
make it look like he did it. Ah,
Yeah, but
that's
I didn't want to.
fun.
I didn't want to pay money, even though it's a great game. I didn't want to pay extra
Yeah.
money.
You know, that's a
Um,
real place you can go to and visit.
yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
is it is beautiful. Like
Super
the,
beautiful.
the Alps are beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd get the heebie-jeebies being in there, I guess. But
I'd be
anyway,
standing on the porch a lot, just looking at the scenery.
yeah. Uh,
I
but yeah, free to
want to
play.
think about the inside of that place.
That's how you. That's how you get gems like Sniper Elite 5, which you'd normally be like, I'm not playing no goddamn stealth
Right, that's
game.
the thing. I would never have looked at that. I would
Yeah.
never have done anything. But it's and honestly, like, okay, I bought Nick All Star Brawl because everyone was buying, and that's kind of like, we're content creators, we're fighting game people, we kind of have to do it. So I did it, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. I'm actually glad I did it. And then it was free for like the month of June on PlayStation Network,
And you were
which I hope
pissed.
well, not even. I just at that point I just wanted more people to jump in and play it. I'm like, hey, give me some. And then, I had some people who did, like, all right. I'm like, just claim it if you're not even going to download it, claim it at least. The voices are nice. Oh my god, did the voices add so much to that game? But there's a ton of games. There's a ton of games on Game Pass that I never would have given the time of day. And there's another one last year for 2 months. For 2 months, Virtua Fighter 5 was free on PlayStation 4 and 5.
Yes. Yeah.
And we don't know the hard numbers, but it's been teased that it's been in the millions, like 8 million possibly. People just jumped on the game. Oh, well, it's free, whatever, fine, sure. Like most people, and no one knows anything about Virtua. I mean, I love Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter,
But it's super
is,
recognizable for some reason. I don't know why. Because it was in every fucking Amici's arcade, pizzeria. Like, everyone had a Virtua Fighter cabinet because it was the literal cheaper option versus getting a Street Fighter cabinet. I remember that. There was like sandwich restaurant or sandwich shop down the street from me growing up that had one. It had Virtua Fighter. Yeah, it had a I forget
Nice.
which Virtua Fighter, but it had an old beat up Virtua Fighter, and it had a
Nice.
Metal Slug slash Puzzle Bobble.
Neo Geo cabinet.
Yeah, those were the two that it had.
And I honest to God think Virtua Fighter is the best 3D fighter fisticuffs. Well, Soul Calibur and Virtua Fighter. I love both of them a whole lot. But
you think it's the best though? That's interesting.
I think it's
3D
better.
fighter?
Well, I will fucking die on this hill. I like Virtua Fighter more than Tekken.
Well, fair. I mean, I don't play enough fighters to have like a strong opinion. Is the problem? Like, I played my experience with fighters has always been like even if I'm trying not to be the button masher, like I play with friends when I'm around them. Otherwise, I don't play them. I don't grind.
Tekken's a good fighter. I'm not gonna diss Tekken, but Tekken's mentality, the design philosophy in Tekken, is a lot like a lot of other fighting games, which is like basically get someone hit so they get in a stun and then do a combo, right? Which is why you have the whole Korean backdashing where characters are like shaking vigorously back and forth. Nobody's like, everyone's trying to get that first hit in so that they can do the string combo after that. Virtua Fighter's design philosophy is they want everything has an answer. Not that there's not combos in Virtua Fighter, because there absolutely is combos in Virtua Fighter.
But you can like parry and counter or something?
There's an answer for everything. Every attack has an answer. And like I had this one Virtua Fighter guy, when I was playing it last month on my own time, and he's like, hey, because Virtua Fighter, a lot of people get tripped up by doing crouching punch because it's a quick, fast move, and it usually stuffs, it's an answer for a lot of things. However, for the character I was using, if you do up forward punch, they do a short hop up in the air, like a little short hopping punch, and it hops over the crouching jabs that most people get you with. So I was stuffing on my birthday stream. I was stuffing the shit out of Kenny, and going in with a lot of against Steve and Max and Kenny, all three of them. I was holding my own, which is unusual in Virtua Fighter because I learned some of this tech, which is like, hey, yeah, like this quick simple thing that usually gets people. There's an answer for it, and like as Max has said, there's an answer for everything in Virtua Fighter.
Did you not share the tech that you learned? So you were just using it the whole time until they figured it out?
Oh, they never figured it out.
Cunt. Amazing.
Well, it's like it's a big thing. It's a big meme between Steve. Where he's just like, "Say, Steve, how you do that? Yeah, you just push buttons." Which happened to him in the arcade, where he asked the guy, "How'd you do that?" And he says, "Hey, you just push these buttons." And then he did it real quick, so fast that he couldn't even see what he did. So.
What is it with old school arcade mentality that just attracted such douchebags? Like, the worst.
I don't know, but the point is that like Virtua Fighter's whole design philosophy is there's an answer for everything. If someone's getting you with something, there's an answer for it. They built an answer for everything, which most fighting games don't want to do that because there's the worry that if you make a game have an answer for everything, it becomes really boring. And that's true. That definitely can happen.
Well, doesn't it just make it more strategic?
Yeah, in a way it can. I mean, every fighting game at the end of the day is very strategic, but like Virtua Fighter's core design philosophy is very much not about long 10-string combos. It's not about touch of death, where it just means like, oh well, I started the combo, I can now beat you up until you die, and there's not a goddamn fucking thing you can do about it. Hello, DNF Duel. Power Rangers especially. So like TOD is a term type, which means that, and then there's like 2-touch or 3-touch fighter. That means that basically, like DNF Duel is a 2-touch or a 3-touch fighter, where that means that like if someone starts a combo, they have to do the combo twice to kill you, or 3 times to kill you. You get hit, you get touched twice, or 3 times. That's it, right?
Oof. Okay.
And I'm not a fan of those. I'm not a fan with games with no answers to anything. It's like, well, if you're in this, and that's why I loved Killer Instinct, and why Killer Instinct needs to come back. That's another hill I will die on. Because the whole point of KI, because it's all about combo breaker. Everyone, even if you don't even know anything about Killer Instinct, that has an announcer that goes combo breaker. So the whole point in KI is if someone's doing a combo on you, you have a chance to break it, and like knock him off you. And he can do what's called a counter breaker, which means that like if he's in the middle of a combo and he's damn sure you're going to try to break him, he can press 2 buttons, both mediums, medium punch, medium kick, and he basically feints, and he does a counter breaker, which then causes the other person to like basically get stuffed, flub, and then which basically makes them like freeze up so that he can then continue his combo on you. So it's like you are always making decisions. There is no such thing in KI as like touch of death, or like I can't do anything, like this character got me a combo, I guess I don't get to play the game. Or no, you're always making decisions. Oh, you're gonna break him, or you're gonna try to get him. The best is like when you're doing a super move, like one of those big flashy supers, and you have to combo break them 3 times, right? So you have to press the mediums three hits during a super, right? So if the other person doing the super can basically are going to guess that you're going to try to break their super, you'll hear the announcer go 1, 2, 3, right? Go 1, 2, 3, break, and then it'll break the super. But like even the person doing the super can counter break the super. So what'll happen is that people will go 1, 2, and then the person doing this who already input the command to do the super move, right? He'll counter break the super move, right? Because he hears the 1, 2, but then you don't press the third. So he then fucks himself and drops his super. He cancels out his own super move because he thought you were gonna break it, and that's why KI is so great. This is why KI needs to come back. There's nothing is safe in KI.
I like the sound of stuff like that. I always part of the reason why I didn't get into fighters in the first place is like I don't care about counting frames and iframes and shit like that. It feels like the arcade scene around us, especially growing up, was like people would straight up, before the days of the internet, people would play enough that they would figure out how many iframes there were, or like what, how far away they could be to like make you miss a punch.
And that is a whole other argument that's actually come up recently where I forget who, someone in the FGC was saying like games should be based on feel, not about frames. Like they're basically arguing against the inclusion of frame data in the games where it counts how many frames, and then in the screen or whatever. And
I think it's cool that people devote that kind of time and learn that. I just like it never appealed to me. And I thought that was, well, I've always sort of figured
Mhm.
that's what all fighting games
Most
are.
people want the frame data. Most people, because you want to know. Like it's like the worst thing you could learn is that there is no rhyme or reason to why this move beat that move one time, but then didn't the other. Right? Like,
Right.
how come this worked once and it didn't work again? You know, it's like, well, because there is no reason. It's actually random. It's like, well, that sucks. Like that's all you want, frame data, because you want to know that the game is actually functioning, because frame data can definitely tell you if something is broken, which is it's a good thing to have. I personally am like, I'm all for frame data. Again, to me the problem is not with how quickly you have to react or whatever. To me it goes before that. It's like, what in your game system do you have to deal with, this or that? What is your answer to whatever it is, like whatever beatdown or
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
combo, whatever. What's the answer to it? And if you don't have an answer, then it's just like, I personally do not like and the thing is, like there's that indie fighting game for Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. People love the game, and it is definitely a labor of love, but it's a touch of death game.
Mm,
You get in one
right.
combo
Yeah.
and that character's dead. There's nothing they can do about it. And I'm like, I don't like games like that. I like games that constantly are a battle of wits, like in KI, where you're constantly like breaking, counter breaking, bluffing, making him think you're gonna bluff or whatever. Um, there's even a thing in KI called a shadow counter, where if you're blocking and someone's just wailing on you, but you're blocking everything, you can actually like do a counter breaker, to like do it, basically like stop him, and then do a super on him. But then
Wow.
he could then break your super, or you could bluff it. Like it keeps going, it never ends, kind of thing. Like just
So where does like classic, say like Street Fighter 5 land on that spectrum?
Street Fighter Five is, I mean, it's very much as it's definitely footsie based.
Right.
It's definitely like, people are trying to, because Street Fighter's not like a five. Is not like either, like combos are the thing, but they're like slow, steady combos. Where it's like or kind of thing, where it's like 5 hits or whatever, right? It's like jump in, land, like punch, like crouch, like light, stand, roundhouse. Like it's like two crouching lights, standing medium, roundhouse, heavy rounding house kick, and then like an uppercut kind of thing. And
So
an
it's not a
Aquaman.
touch of death game though.
No, Street Fighter Five is not touch of death, absolutely not. But it is very footsie, right? So everyone's
Right.
trying to get like that jab, and everyone's playing space, spacing out each other. And they've actually done a lot to in the last year, where they've been able to go a little hog wild due to certain factors. Like, oh, fuck, we could say it seems like, I can't say this with any sort of certainty. This is not, and this is tales from my ass, but it sure seems like after Ono left, they started opening up the game to a lot of crazier ideas and guest characters when he was gone. It just seems that way.
What? What?
Like they
Ono didn't like didn't like new ideas. He didn't like fresh shit.
I can't speak for him. I don't know what he is, but it is interesting that once the current producer director combo of people got in and were doing all the announcements and gameplay demonstrations, it's funny how they started adding in some of the crazier moves characters could do at the start of the game that they took away, and they started adding them back in, and then they started put a rival school character in there, because why not, kind of thing.
For a while there, Ono was the only fighting game guy that I knew, that I knew of the name. Like I
Yeah,
recognized
I
that.
mean, and what he said in interviews when 4 was coming out was talking about how, like, he wanted these games to basically be like high-speed chess matches.
Right.
Um,
Uh, when 4, I think it was that E3. I was standing next to him in line for something else. And he doesn't, well, I don't know that his English is bad or anything, but he doesn't seem like he speaks much English. But like we both had a reaction to something that had happened. I can't even remember the game. All I remember is like we both had a reaction, seemed to like have like a laugh about whatever was happening. And then he walked off, and whoever was next was like, "Oh man, I can't believe you're just hanging out with Ono." And that's how I found out who Ono was. Like I have no idea who this small Japanese man is, but he seems fun. That's the only thing I knew of them, was like we both laughed at something.
I mean, who knows? We'll never really know, but it's kind of one of those things where it's just kind of like when the current set of director producer took over Street Fighter V, it started to get a little more flashy. Stuff started to get a little bit more crazy with it. Because 5 had the same mentality that 4 did, which was like, let's get back to basics. We'll add a new gimmick. We'll add one new gimmick, right?
Right.
But the focus of the game is back to basics. Because like Street Fighter 4 was like, hey, let's go back to Street Fighter 2. We'll have this thing called Focus Attack. And then 5 is the same way. We'll have this thing called V Skill, or V Trigger and stuff. But like, otherwise, it's going to be a very classic back to basics kind of thing. And for me, that's boring as shit, personally. Like CVS2 is peak Street Fighter for me. All the groove systems, because what are grooves? Grooves are answers. This groove lets you roll forward, or whatever,
Really?
right? This groove lets you parry. This groove lets you do custom combos. This groove lets you stand in place and dodge, like step into the background. Like this groove lets you do just defend parries from Samurai Showdown, and that's a little different from a normal parry because it gives you it gives you a tiny bit of health back. Shit like that. So it's like there's answers, and like this groove, part of one of these other grooves lets you block in the air. So if you jump, you can actually block in the air, and the other grooves don't let you air block.
Interesting.
So yeah, like CVS is like peak. CVS2 is like peak Capcom for me because of all the answers it has. Unfortunately, the game is still busted as shit because there's a set number of characters that are vastly better than the rest of the cast. Just because of their reach.
I think that's another thing that the internet is, I guess, responsible for killing in a way. Do you remember the debates? There was no official tier list of older games. And like now, the internet has tier lists for every character, every move set, every gun in a game, every skill, and I wonder if that sort of ruins. Like, because in older games, like, yeah, okay, you knew the game was probably busted, but like,
what it does is it ruins newcomers from picking a character that they like. That's what it does. This character looks cool. I think I want to learn him. Oh, he sucks. Don't learn him. He's the bottom. He's bottom tier.
Well, funny enough, that's one of the reasons why free to play can excel, because free to play just continuously balances almost all the time.
Right, because in a free to play environment, like if you want fighting games to be supported beyond their initial launch now, right?
Yeah.
But a free to play has to be, right. You can't design and budget and develop a game to be a standalone $60 release, because most of the time a lot of the development team just walks away after that point, and a portion of them stay on to do any sort of tweaks, and then a portion of them stay on to do DLC characters, right? You are not like when NetherRealm finishes a Mortal Kombat or an Injustice game. When they finish the main game, the entire staff of NetherRealm is not working on DLC characters.
Right.
It's not like that. They're going on to do pre-production for the next fighting game. If you had a really successful free-to-play fighting game, you'd have way more incentive for like the majority of the developer to just stick with it, just keep making more stuff or keep adding to it. But I mean, like, support. Support is something that like it's hard to gauge. But like, you'd have to imagine support would be stronger if the game was being played more. And a game like Multiversus has shown already that it is being played way more and so far more consistently than any other fighter, at least on Steam. So it's a tiny developer making the game, but it's like, now they have huge reasons to stick around,
right.
and keep working on it, stuff like that.
Well, they've almost definitely made their budget back too on any microtransactions and
exactly.
like
So
yeah.
here's the thing, is that I thought it was Project L was going to be the one. And I mean, when I mean the one, I mean the one free game that it's a fighting game. It'll go free to play. It'll fucking blow up, and then everyone will be caught with their pants down. Who resisted this forever, and it's already happening. It's already happening with multiverses.
Right.
You
So
know,
you
we're
thought Project L was going to be the one that catches everyone with their pants down. Instead, Multiverses caught you with your pants down a little bit.
got me. Well, I'm like, it's
Yeah.
already a huge success. Like Project L is God knows when it's going to come out. Like, you know, they did a small update recently, I think, but like that's the League of Legends fighting game.
Yeah.
And the only thing they announced was that it would be free to play. And I'm like, well, of course it would be. I'm like, the thing that's crazy is like, okay, so Project L was announced. We didn't get confirmation that it was free to play until like a day or two ago, right? Which to me, I was like, oh, of course it's going to be free to play. Here's the craziest thing: DNF Duel, which I don't even know if you're aware of its existence.
I'm not. No.
So it's one of those Arc System fighters. It came out at the end of June. It's really fun, but you know it's a 2-touch, 3-touch game. It's based off a massively successful, popular Korean brawler MMO.
Huh.
Right, so huge project, huge franchise media thing in Korea, South Korea, obviously not North Korea.
You don't know that. Maybe.
Yes, I do. You know it too. And China. So mainland Asia, huge fucking franchises. Dungeon Fighter Online. DNF Duel is a fighting game based on it. They've made $18 billion
Holy shit.
on the original game, right? It's been around forever. It's been around a long time.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like in a year they made $18 billion.
No, they've made $18 billion. It had like a resurgence like halfway through its lifespan. Anyways, the original Dungeon Fighter Online, it's free to play. They made $18 billion off it. Yet the DNF Duel, the fighting game, is $50. I don't understand why they decided to go this route. Maybe because they commissioned it to be done by a Japanese game developer, but I don't know why that would have any sway on them. They're not the publisher. But yeah,
maybe we did talk about this. I'm getting deja vu. Did we talk about it and it didn't do well?
Well, we don't know how it's going to do. I mean, it's been out a month. We don't really have any hard numbers. I guarantee it's not going to hit any top 10 in North America.
Right. I'm always sort of shocked by how many fighting games we get when the FGC or just fighting games in general has a pretty small audience comparatively.
Yeah, and let's be honest, they have a fickle audience, and it's gotten more fickle. It's gotten more fickle over time, honestly, because like fighting games have like from what I can tell you as a content creator, they seem to really mostly have the retention for about a month. They die in a month.
Right, but are they cheaper to make?
Not necessarily, but cheaper than a Grand Theft Auto anything is really.
Well,
but
yeah, no, that's fair. They're cheaper than I would say they're probably some of the cheapest games to develop in terms of AAA titles and stuff. Definitely.
it depends on how much you're putting into it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If you're putting the content into it that NetherRealm does, that Mortal Kombat does.
Yeah, I guess they're sort of the peak.
That is a full ass game, like full AAA style size budgeted game, because they have this massive giant campaign, huge long like elaborate cutscenes, tons of stuff to do, right?
Yeah, they really justify the price tag.
Right. So they're justifying their price tag. So the thing is like if you're really not offering that, and no one offers that kind of budget of into a fighting game as NetherRealm. No one has that kind of content and budget. So all these other fighting games coming out for $60, and they have online-ish modes, and they have like a really kind of like slapped together story mode with like still images or whatever, right? So it's like, I don't know. Like, I think there's a future coming, because here's the thing. Here, Multiverses already is like holy shit. Like it's got to be turning some heads by now. I think Project L, if Multiverse hasn't already done it by then, Project L's going to come out and it's going to make a ton of money, right? And all these fighting companies are going to be like, oh, we should have free play, because they've talked about it before, but the Japanese developers are always saying that we don't want to devalue the brand, you know, of our IP. We don't want people to assume that our brand has
Does Konami control any fighting games? Because they don't give a fuck about their brand.
Oh, they do, Andrew.
They don't give
Yes,
a
they do.
fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna break your heart.
What?
It's Bloody Roar.
Oh, no shit, really?
Yeah, because Hudson made it, and they bought Hudson
Well,
years
then
ago.
we're gonna get a Bloody Roar free to play. They'll be the first free to play Japanese
Bloody
developer.
Roar coming back as a free-to-play game would be, especially if they had the
amazing.
original. If it was the original developer, which is Aiding, who made DNF Duel, if they got to make Bloody Roar a new one, but they're like, Konami's like, we want it to be a free-to-play game with microtransactions, whatever, that would be fantastic.
I don't remember a fucking thing about this game other than its tagline, "The Unleash the Beast Within."
Yeah.
I had a Bloody Roar poster, and like again, I didn't play fighting games all that much, but I had a Bloody Roar poster from PSM magazine. It was
Hell
like one of
yeah.
the cutouts and stuff. God, I wonder what the fuck happened to that. Yes, now I'm looking at characters from Bloody Roar. God, that'd be hilarious if they brought this back as a free to play. They went all the way up to a 4, right? Bloody Roar 4.
Yeah, 4. Nobody liked it.
Well, you know.
Anyway, people love 3. Didn't like 4 though. But that's the thing. Bloody Roar would be a fantastic. Any of these games would be great. There's only going to be 3 games that can viably still come out at $60. It's going to be Street Fighter, which 5 didn't justify its price tag at all at launch. Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Those are going to be like your premium fighters, right? Who you could still say, hey, it's a $60 game. But Virtua Fighter had huge success last year when it was free to play for a couple months. And then it's like $20 without it, right?
The thing about NetherRealm is it doesn't have to go free to play because I would argue its campaign is so beefy. Like there's no...
But when you have games that are not having really standout-ish campaigns, why are we charging 60 for these?
Right, exactly.
Why are you charging 50 for DNF Duel?
You know, I think when you have a beefy-ass campaign, that $50 or that $60 or whatever makes total sense. You're paying for a single-player experience. I don't think you are going to see a lot of free-to-play single-player experiences. In my mind, I can't think of one, and maybe there is one out there, but like, I wouldn't want a free-to-play single-player experience. That seems like it's just
you're forgetting a big one.
What was it?
Genshin Impact.
That was free-to-play?
It is free-to-play. It was a $100 million free-to-play game.
Yeah, but you're the only one of the dudes that played that.
No, me and Max, we played it on a sponsored stream.
Max played Genshin Impact too?
Sponsored stream.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. You just went out there and decided to check out a free-to-play single-player game.
Well, you can do multiplayer. You have to get to a certain point, which takes many, many hours. It's not entirely single-player, right?
Right.
But it's arguable that most of the player base doesn't play online. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but like it was like, it takes you like 10-ish hours of gameplay before you can actually do multiplayer, where someone can just kind of play along with you in your world. But to my knowledge, to my understanding, it is most people just kind of prefer just to play it single player.
Yeah, well, my point is you're not going to get like a fucking Perfect Dark game that's free to play, single player entirely. Fucking like, yeah, okay, it's got the multiplayer, which we all want to be really good, and that could be free to play, but like the moment they put a good single player campaign, I feel like they're not going to, you'll buy that as an add-on. Be like, oh, the multiplayer's free to play, but if you want to play the campaign, it's $15-$20.
Well, I mean, it only recently happened, but like Overwatch finally went free to play.
Right, that makes sense.
It's kind of funny because I'm like like when it was new years ago, I was like, they should just have one of these other studios like High Moon should just do a campaign mode, and like just have a separate campaign. I paid for the campaign. We're like a free to play Overwatch with a campaign mode that's like $40-$50 whatever, depending on how good it is, how big it is. Sure,
and
yeah, like why not?
Fuck would that campaign be about though? Like
someone,
I guess they do have stories in there for the characters.
There's a bunch of there's a bunch of story related stuff with Overwatch. Although to be fair, like and here's the thing: what everyone's
most of that got used for the porn.
Well, of course, source filmmaker, artists everywhere. Here's the problem, and this is where everyone kind of like their fear comes from. Is that Overwatch 2 had a survey, like a closed survey with, beta testers or whatever. And they were asking, would people be willing to buy legendary skins, not loot boxes, but skin, like just buy the skin for $45.
The fuck?
which is more money than the base game cost when it came out.
For all
And
of
it's
them,
terrible.
obviously. For all of them, right?
No, one.
Per?
One skin. One skin. One character, one skin, specifically. It's a legendary skin.
Fuck.
Would you be okay? Would you be okay if it cost $45?
Fuck your whole family for suggesting that. What the fuck is wrong? Who?
And
I hope
that's
that
what
person lost their fuck that guy.
see. And this is what fighting games fans are afraid of. Like, oh, they're going to get legendary skins that are $45. They're going to prey on whales, or worst case scenario, the game will be free to play, but every time they introduce a new character, it's going to cost you like $40 to buy that new character.
No, if you're an asshole, if you're stupid enough to pay $40 for a single character, you deserve it. You deserve all the bad things that are coming.
And here's how Multiversus is doing it. It's free to download. You have a rotating cast of 4 free characters. It doesn't stay the same. Like every week, it shifts which 4 characters are free to play. Right.
Right.
It takes about an hour of gameplay or less to get enough money to buy any one character on the roster permanently forever. And however, like if you put like about an hour or 2 in each day, you'll probably get every character by the end of the week that's currently available permanently. You don't have to spend any money. That's $0, right? But here's the thing: you can go into practice mode, and here's the craziest thing. You can play offline. When you play offline, every single character and perk is unlocked for free offline.
That's oddly magnanimous of them.
Right? If you're playing this game on the couch with your friends, it's free. Everything's free. Every character's there, free. Every ability's there, everything, right? And when you're going online, you need to you need to either to unlock the character, you just need like the gold coins or whatever, and that's like the shit you get at the end of every round, right?
Right.
The only thing, to my knowledge, in Multiverse that costs real world dollars, and there's no other way to really get it, is premium skins for these characters.
Right. Okay.
And some of them are fuck awfuls, like they're just losing money by like putting this behind a paywall, right? Some of them are kind of neat, and some of them are at the end of a battle pass. Where it's like, oh, here's the $10 battle pass. If you get to the end of the battle pass, you get like, the girl version of Finn and Jake. I don't know what her name is. Cake and Jenny. I don't know.
From Adventure Time?
Yes, from Adventure Time, because they're characters in the game. Finn and Jake are separate characters in the game.
Right.
And at the end of one of the battle passes, you can unlock the female versions, Fiona and Cake or something. I don't fucking know. I don't watch the show. But like, yeah. So it's like, it took me. I played one of the closed betas, and I like Superman a lot. And so when the open beta happened, what did I do? I played for about an hour or so, and then I got enough money. I'm like, I'm just buying Superman. Now, no, when I say I bought him, I'm talking about in-game currency. I didn't use no real-world dollars. Superman's like the only character I kind of enjoy so far in the game because he's the only one that seems to actually hit people hard.
Superman's not allowed to be in fighting games because him losing doesn't make sense.
Right. So, okay, I got Superman, right? And then there's 4 other characters that I can randomly, every week I'll have 4 new characters I can choose from if I want to just switch it up, play as someone else, right?
Huh.
So that's the thing. What was the investment to download this game? $0, 0 time. What was the investment to unlock the character I enjoyed? About an hour. And now I have that character permanently forever kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that seems interesting. It almost seems very fair.
Because the thing is, like, people are like, oh, because there's arguments against it, because like, oh, you're going to lock away the roster and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, if people are allowed to play as any character for free in practice mode and lab mode, whatever, or hell, in multiplayer, for Multiversus case, they allow anyone. You could play against any human as long as they're in the same room with you. that's fine, because the thing is like, really think about it. Really think, when you buy a fighting game, $50, $60 for a fighting game, right? How many fucking characters do you actually sit there and learn? Some people are like, I learn everyone. Okay, good for you. Big strong boy.
Well, most people like one or two they really focus on. Usually just
Exactly.
one, really.
Usually it's everyone has their one character. Maybe someone has a pocket character, and maybe a couple people dab around with three. So if the game is free to play and it takes like an hour or two to get the character you want, or the two characters you want, that's kind of an amazing thing, because like, think about it. It's like, okay, like, and granted the roster is kind of small right now in multiverses, but it's like, I unlocked the one or two characters I wanted forever, and I've never spent a dime on this game, and I've played it for tens of hours.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Well,
from a frugal standpoint, because if you want to sit there and be like, oh well, it's cost so much money to get everything. Why would you want everything? A lot of it's bullshit, anyways.
And I mean, you look at a game like Warzone, where I think overall I spent $15, because I bought one skin and I bought a battle pass once, and then just unlocked all the coins to get the next battle pass for free. Blah blah. Yeah. But I put like 200 fucking hours into that game at least. Like for $15, that's amazing.
I've spent a grand total of about.
We're sort of spoiled.
I spent I've played Warzone since it released, and I play it like weekly, right? Like, I still do. I've spent a grand total of no more than $4 on that game. I know I've spent $2. I may have spent another $2 on another point.
Sexy.
I spent somewhere between $2 and no more than $4.
You cheap on Warzone.
Fuck. I've played it for like 1,000 goddamn. I don't even want to think about how much I've played it. I've gotten over 300 victories. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, goddamn.
On Rebirth alone. So.
Yeah, when I stopped playing, I think I was at like 40 victories, and everybody's like, God damn, that's a lot. So it's been a while. Clearly.
Wow. $4. Maybe two. Maybe only $2. I could have easily have survived without. I didn't like one. I think $2 was. I think one was for a fucking bat, or something that came with a bat, and then the other $2 I think was to. Well, yeah, one of the $2 was to get the King Kong skin, because it came with that unique throw where I throw a motherfucker halfway across the map.
All right. Final thought on like, I guess, what's the number one thing that makes a free-to-play successful? Like, it's not IP.
Well, here's the thing, because that's the whole thing. Because some people are trying to argue that Multiverses is only successful because of the IP, and it's like, do you think it would have these numbers if it was $40, $50, $60? Because it didn't work for Nick.
Right, for damn sure, it wouldn't have these numbers. No. But is it important for a free to play game to have like some sort of IP like this?
No, because I think Virtua Fighter kind of proved that Virtua Fighter was basically dead. Like,
right, but I would argue that Virtua Fighter itself is
and here's the other thing:
IP.
Brawlhalla has been very successful for itself. It has guest characters now, but Brawlhalla was a completely independent, no IP attached, brand new characters, everything, and it's free to play, and it has had a very, very respectable success. It has like a 20,000 or more daily average amount of users logging in to play matches in Brawlhalla on PC alone. So now, granted, that's an indie game, so it doesn't even have a marketing budget. Like, because if a game from Konami, even Konami or Capcom or Namco
with
or whoever,
a marketing budget, they would have.
They're going to put marketing budget behind a free to play fighter.
Right.
And any of these old dormant IPs could come back as free to play. What I think they should do is like, because Sega's clearly seen the success of free to play with Virtua Fighter, or at least free to play limited time free to play, and they know what that did for basically getting eyes on it. I think they should bring back Fighters Megamix.
Okay.
If you remember that game for the Saturn.
I mean, yeah, it's
Which,
been a long time. I'm gonna.
so I mean, it was back when they were cranking out them all the time, but it was mostly Virtua Fighter versus Fighting Vipers. But then they threw in a Virtua Cop character, and then they threw in a couple Sonic the Fighters characters, and then
Right.
they threw
Yeah.
in the car from Daytona. Right, everyone remembers the car. You know, you could fight as the Hornet car from Daytona, USA. So to me, I'm like, this is what you do, Sega. You take Virtua Fighter, you take its fighting engine, you don't even tweak much of it at all. You take what you already got, and now you just start adding, new characters, new models in, based on these other popular IPs you own, and you make it free to play. Because I mean, Sonic characters alone, you put a bunch of Sonic characters in a free to play fighter, people are going to go nuts. They're going to buy Sonic and Shadow and Knuckles, and they're
Absolutely.
absolutely going to do it. They're going to do it, and they're going to love it. Like,
especially if you have an enchilada. If you have Knuckles and an enchilada to fight,
you say like he eats one after like a victory screen, like like a big.
I looked up Fighters Mega Mix to remind myself, and now I remember it because I forgot. It's the car fights standing straight up on its back wheels. Yeah. So dumb. I forgot about that.
Is there not a more perfect game for free to play for Sega to do than to just take your Virtua Fighter 5 engine and just start throwing random shit in it and make it a free to play fighter?
Well, I mean, Sega is probably one of the best companies positioned to use its old IP for free to play model.
Mm-hmm.
For all sorts of shit. And they just don't seem to want to do anything. Like, they seem like they have no motivation, and I don't know what to do with Sega.
The most unmotivated company on God's green earth. But yeah, I'm like,
they're odd.
That would be such a great idea. I think Bloody Roar coming back as free to play would work.
And Konami doesn't give a fuck, so they absolutely would.
I mean, clearly it wouldn't do multiverses numbers. How could it? But it's like, it existing is better than it not existing, right?
Huh.
Well, I mean, no.
Yeah,
according to many of other, again, like,
not if you talk to Konami. Konami prefers
the thing
its
is
IP
like,
to be dead.
You want these games to exist. You want people to enjoy fighting games. Like, if you're, I don't. There are people out there who have the mentality of like, I don't want everyone to be playing fighting games. I don't want a bunch of scrubs. I don't want a bunch of just blah 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 blah. And it's like, you do though, because fighting games are still finding success relative enough to keep themselves above water, right? But they've not had a great run, until like recently, when like on many deep discount sales where people could buy Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7 for $10. I bought Tekken 7 for $12 on a PSN sale.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I even have it. I claimed Street Fighter 5 when it was free to play for 1 month on PSN. Right? It's like I technically have these games for that reason, but otherwise, like, these games can't exist and continue to exist. They can't thrive with the old world models. Like, free to play can work very well for fighting games. In fact, it's kind of almost tailor made for it, because what it lets you do is focus on the mechanics of the fighter and focus on the roster. You don't have to worry about a campaign. You don't have to worry about much else. You just got to make sure the online's good and it works, and that the roster's good and it works, and it has characters people want to put money down for. Like, you boil it down to its raw essence of like, make it good, make it fun, and give people what they want. Make sure the online works.
And it doesn't even have to start out as a giant game. It can grow into being a giant game.
Right, because Multiversus is not a giant game by any means. It is very bare bones.
But if it stays popular, it could grow to the size of, say, Smash. It could.
Yeah, it could get there eventually. I mean, not with the current
fucking character.
Yeah, well, not with the current, because the developer's really actually pretty small. But they're gonna have to start hiring people now. Shit, that shit's successful. Guess what? They're gonna have to start hiring people. So,
well, it's
on the up and up.
In the comments or on Twitter, you can let us know what your opinion is on free to play. Maybe you're not sold on free to play, and I actually want to hear what would sell you on free to play, if anything, or if you're a diehard, You never
for
want
me,
free to play to be a thing.
yeah, it's like, again, I'm not a huge fan of free to play
In
mentality
general,
or
yeah.
mechanics, or in general. I'm not a huge
Yeah.
fan of it, but you know what I am a fan of is getting more people to play fighting games and enjoy fighting games. And I think
Yeah,
for
that's true.
the health of the genre and the health of many dormant fighting game franchises, this is the way to go.
It's sort of the perfect genre for free to play too, though.
Yeah,
It
it
really
really
is. It is perfectly built for it, and it is also perfectly built to not be too I don't know, toxic's not the right word, but like it developers for fighting
Predatory.
game. Yeah, predatory. It's built to
Yeah.
be the least predatory type
So
of
here's the
free to
thing.
play.
Imagine if it's like, okay, we're gonna charge all these little tiny dollar increments for, like, okay, you could throw red Hadoukens or green Hadoukens, or your Dragon Punch can have red flames or blue flames
Right.
or purple flames. And it's like, none of this changes the game in any way whatsoever. It's just like, oh, if people wanted to waste money on these little flashy knickknacks, right?
Right.
And people are like, well, that shit could have been offered for free. I'm like, sure, it could have, but like, let's say we offer the whole fucking game for free.
And now you just buy these little dumb things that you want.
Because how many more people are going to take the time to try, right? Like Game Pass, as we pointed out earlier. What does Game Pass do for me that no other thing has ever done? I'm playing Sniper Elite. I played Forza Horizon. I played one of those random ass hunting games. I
downloaded that hunting game that you recommended, by the way.
I would never touch these games otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
Never.
I'm gonna go hunting
Never would
later,
touch them.
so
Just never would touch them otherwise. So it's like, that's the thing with fighting games, is that, like, if you put a game in, like, hey, this game's free to play. Oh shit. What do I have to do to buy in? Just download it. Okay.
yeah. I think that's
press
true.
some buttons. You're gonna get millions more people playing a fighting game than you have now. So,
And
Smash right now is the best-selling fighting game of all time, and it is very good. But it's like, it is Smash,
and it is also. I wonder how much it is lowering.
But there's a shit ton of content in Smash Brothers,
right.
and the second best-selling game is Mortal Kombat, like 11, and there's a shit ton of content in Mortal Kombat 11.
Right.
So it's like, let's get millions of people in. And what's the best way to do that? Because if you're not spending the money that NetherRealm was spending or Nintendo was spending, if you're not spending that much money, you're not going to get great sales. You're not going to get sales that match what's happening with multiverses. So, I don't know. I think free to play is let's put it this way. At worst, it's a necessary evil for fighting games to grow and to prosper. Because once you've got someone in and hooked on a fighting game, then you can sell them it later.
It also, I think it also, as my final thought, it means that you'll get less fighting games, if that makes sense, but not in a bad way. Like right now, I feel like fighting games die out after a month, and so they churn them out. Like it seems like there's more fighting games than there's ever been lately.
In a way, somewhat.
This might just be a way that those development teams can just like continue expanding on one fighting game, which means that you can become better at a fighting game for longer.
Yeah, rather than having to hop from game to game to game. Because no one's playing it. It's like, oh, well, I really love this game, but I can't find any matchups.
Right.
Right, because nobody wanted to pay $60 for King of Fighters.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, and I sort of see both sides where it's like people don't want it to become predatory, but I really actually think fighting games might be the least likely to be predatory in a free-to-play space. But on that note...
And Multiverse is showing it by being, like you said, pretty generous with
super
what
generous,
it offers.
Yeah, shockingly so.
That becomes standard now.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Anything else would be an upset.
Now this sets the precedent. So if someone tries to not be... tries to be more rip-offy, they're gonna fail, and then people be like, "Why aren't you like Multiverses?" Well, but you should have been like Multiverses,
right? Especially because Multiverse is such a small team, they can't make an excuse.
Yeah.
On that note, we've got patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames. Dude of the week was Imperious Mex. Thank you, Imperious Mex. And our producers for this episode are Scrunami, Kuroi35, Hyper Viper 89, Ziggy Z, and Online Persona. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.